so-called financial terrorists who have looted the system under the garb of different laws. Crores of rupees have been written off. Nothing is done to them. Nothing is done to them. They can even become the members of parliament. See the injustice. A poor beggar can be arrested, but a person, corporate, who has got money with him, who doesn't pay deliberately, willful defaulter, he doesn't get any protection. He doesn't get any law. He is protected by the law. He is allowed to go free. This is the system that we have. And unless that is changed, it is difficult to change politics. And instead of changing that, instead of making the willful default as a criminal offense, this government wants to hand over the entire public sector back into their hand. Loot it. You know, there is a saying in English, a small child, when you clean, a newborn child, you have to throw only the water out. Nobody throws the baby along with the water. Yes, that is there in the public sector. But the dirt is the corporate, the NPS. Instead of removing that dirt, you are throwing out the public sector also. Destroying the very sector which has contributed to this country, who has contributed to the agriculture growth, women empowerment, everything this public sector has done. And it is this public sector which has been used by the government for their own purpose also, sometimes in the name of election. So we need to strengthen the public sector bank. And it is required because the country requires public sector banks for the development. Infrastructure that we see everywhere, whether it's a road or railways, it is financed by the public sector bank. So we require public sector bank. We require public sector bank for job and job security. When I use the word job and job security, it's not only job security of the employees, but I am also concerned about the thousands and lakhs of people, young generation, which are getting graduated for looking for the job. Today unemployment here is more than 70%. They are looking for the job. And it's not just a bank job, but when the bank finance infrastructure, when the bank finance industries, when the bank finance agriculture, there the jobs are created. And in the private sector are not going to finance this. So the people, the young generation which are yet to get a job, they will be on the street. So public sector is required for every purpose. For the country's development, for the job creation, for the job security, for the exports of the country, for the growth of this country. And that is why, comrade, we have to fight, and we have to fight. All these years we have been fighting. This is not the fight only of the bank employees, comrade. We are fighting for this country because we love this country. We want this country to prosper. We want this country to grow. And along with this country, we want every common people to grow. And because of the common people require the finance, the small credit has to be given to the finance, to the common people. We want this public sector bank to remain. Common people of this country have still a trust in the public sector bank. Even if the public sector bank made laws, no public sector funds and deposit has gone down. Today, more than 1.45 lakh crores of rupees, 145 lakh crores of deposits are there in the public sector bank because they trust public sector bank. Because they have saved the fund. If it was a private sector bank, as and when they collapse, they will have lost the fund. So many people have been losing funds in other investments. No one has lost the funds in the public sector bank because we are the trustees, the people, the public has the trust in us. So we have to fight. We have to fight for public sector. When we fight for the public sector banking, we are fighting for our country, we are fighting for our job and job security, we are fighting for the development of the country, we are fighting for the generation of the employees or young people, my son, your daughters, everybody who will likely to get jobs. So we want public also to support us. This is not a fight only of the bank employees. We are not going to get even 1 rupee out of this fight. We are going on strike on 14 and 15 and 16 of March. We will lose the salary. In the last 10-20 years, we have gone on strike only to save public sector bank by losing our own salary, by making our own sacrifices. But today we want the public, our customers, to join and to tell the government that this is my public sector bank We love our public sector banks. They have brought life, they have brought improvement in our life, they have brought development in our life, in our personal life, in our economic life, in our social life, in our businesses, and we want our public sector bank to remain is the public sector bank. We want that message, and this message should not be only of the bank employees, but this message should be of the common people, of the general public of the country, because it is because the public money which is there is the people's money, and the people's money should be for people's welfare. It cannot be used for the corporate loot. We believe in that, and we have been fighting for that. Unfortunately, the government is taking all steps to save the corporate and to punish the small depositors. That's why deposit rates are going down. Charges are going up for the depositors, but the interest for the corporates is going down. So let us fight corporate. We want the public to come to support us. This is a public cause. This is a nation cause. Let us remain together, fight together, and save our public sector bank. This is our promise to you, that the bank employees will fight for the public, fight for the nation, fight for the welfare of the country, and we want the public to be there. With this, I thank you, comrade.
So today, the bank employees, the officers, the clerks, the sub-staff, all the bank employees.
Sir, your name, please.
I am Maxi Pereira. I am the General Secretary of the Goa Bank Employees Association and a member of the Goa Committee on United Forum Bank Unions. Today, the bank employees under the banner of United Forum Bank Unions are observing one-day Dharna program throughout the country to express our protest against the proposal of the government to privatize some of the public sector banks, to privatize the general insurance companies, and to go in for disinvestment in the public sector undertaking. Public sector banks has contributed to the overall growth development of this country, whether it is agriculture sector, whether it is for employment generation, whether for women empowerment, whether it is export, whether it is for infrastructure, you name it, it is the public sector bank which has contributed for the growth of this country, and we want the public sector to be further strengthened, because there are a lot of areas in the country which requires more finance. The manufacturers industry requires support. Export has to be strengthened. So for that we require public sector. Unfortunately, the government of India has decided to privatize some of the banks. And we feel and we are convinced that private sector banks are not in the interest of the nation. The number of private sector banks which has collapsed, more than 2,000 private sector banks has collapsed over the years. And before nationalization, when they collapsed, people have lost the money. But because of the nationalization of the bank, as and when private banks has collapsed, they have been merged with the public sector bank and people's money has been saved. Public sector banks are the trustees of people's money. We are the nation building institution, the engine of nation growth. We have done that in the past, and we firmly believe public sector banks should continue. The only issue before the public sector bank is the NPAs. But the major part of the NPA is the creation of the corporates. As per the figures given by the parliament itself, the first 50 corporates owe to the public sector more than 68,607 crores of rupees. There are another 263 corporates which owes 1.8 lakhs of crores of rupees. So issue is the corporates which are the NPA creators. And the government is trying to hand over the bank to the very corporate which are looting the bank. We are opposite. In fact, we want that the willful default should be treated as a criminal default, and the entire money, which is the people's money, should be recovered by the government by making suitable amendments in the law. We firmly believe that the public money which is in the bank is the public wealth, and it has to be used for the nation's welfare, for the common people of the country. And that is why the bank employees on the banner of UFBU have decided to fight and to oppose the government proposal. We seek the support and cooperation of the general public, because this is not the fight only of the bank employees, but this is the fight on behalf of the public of the country. This is the fight for the welfare of the nation of the country. And that's why
through you all, we appeal to the people, we appeal to the customer, we appeal to general public. Come forward, support us. Jointly, let us convince this government that the proposal is bad in law, is a bad idea, and public sector banks should be strengthened. We intend to go on strike. If the government is not listening, on the 15th and 16th, we have already given a call. And if further calls will be given, it may even be leading to that continuous strike calls may be given depending on the response of the government. So we appeal to you, to the media. Media has been supporting us. Kindly convey the message, the importance of public sector bank. We are prepared to discuss, to deliberate, to debate with anyone, proving with facts and figures the contribution of public sector bank. Thank you, Comrade.
So you were telling the who looted the bank. Then who looted the bank?
See, the major loot has been by the corporate. The banks have been giving the loan. It has to be recovered. But the recovery is not taking place. The interesting part about this country is if you go to see, the industries are becoming sick, but the industrialists are becoming rich. If the industries are sick, then the industrialists who started the industry also should become sick. But they are becoming rich and they are not paying. Deliberately having money, they are not paying to the bank. And the banks are not in a position to recover because the banks feel they don't have enough legal support. Now the government of the country has brought earlier asset recovery companies. They have brought the debt tribunal. Then they brought the insolvency and bankruptcy code. All these only help the corporate. In the recent figures that have come in the IBC, whatever cases have been settled, the amount of around 85%, 65%, 75% discount has been given to the corporate instead of recovery. And they have been left scot-free. Today, a small farmer, we are recovering 100%. And for them, we are giving 75%, 85% discount when they have a capacity to pay. I can understand. If they cannot have a capacity, we can look at it. But if they don't have a capacity to pay, how is that they are living a lavish life? They are becoming rich day by day. And the industry and the banks are suffering. So our issue is very clear. Anybody who has got a money and who does not pay, this is the public money, he should be taken to task, he should be treated as a criminal offense, it has to be tried by the criminal law of the land. This is what is our humble appeal. If that comes, then everything will be normal. Because now it has become a habit. Corporates know, I will take the loan, I will not pay, I will get a discount, I will go scot-free. Once the fear of law is there, then these things will not happen.
Corporate people the government are supporting them?
Support, definitely, sir. Government is supporting them. Then why should government love a corporate and give the bank to them only? It's a mutual nexus. It's a tragedy of life is that the masses are electing the people, government, and the classes are running this government. Thank you. Thank you.
Name, please.
I'm Santosh Haldankar, convener of Goa State United Forum of Banks Union. United Forum of Banks Union, they have given a call. So today we are doing a one-day dharna.
Come in front. Come
From
at the
1st
back.
March
Some of you can
and
stand on
8th March, we will be wearing a mask of the protest. We will be printing the mask to protest. And from 1st March, we will also put a poster on all the branches of the bank for the awareness of the public that we are opposing for privatization, so that their money can be safe in the PSU bank.
Banks are going into private. Some
Banks are not announced by the government, but they have hinted that 2-3 banks they will privatize, nationalize banks. So these are the programs, and from 15 and 16 we are going for the 2-day strike. Later on we will, our leaders will give the agitation call and also a future course of action. So after 15 and 16 we will see what are the plans of our leaders. They will give all India level leaders. They will give. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
साडी शॉपिंग करपाक आता बेळगांव वचपाची गरज ना. पणजीतल्या बॉम्बे बाजारात तुमका दर्जेदार प्रकारच्या साड्यो खरेदी करपाक मेळटा. नवीन व्हंकलेक नववारी असो किंवा उत्तर भारतीय लेहंगा, सिल्क साडी किंवा कॉटन साडी, तुमची पसंत आणि आमचे कलेक्शन. साडी स्वतः खातीर खरेदी करा किंवा गिफ्ट करा. बॉम्बे बाजार, 18 जेल रोड, पणजी.